Smoke that hog. Smoke that hog. That hog is blowing blood. And down it goes. That massive point. Could you see the blood just pouring out of it? Had to thread the needle on it. I hope the point's still on there somewhere. If not, it should be right around there. Them big points. That big point messed that hog up. We'll have to be careful looking for the point. So actually we're thinking that because it went through, that it just actually stuck in the dirt on the other side. You can see there's dirt here. So I think the point's probably buried in the dirt on the other side. So, I mean, let's look at it's a battle axe of a point. Now, this is what I call my proxy bow. It's a laminated bow with a modern string, so it's not full primitive. It's, retro primitive, but I call it the proxy bow because I shoot a short draw. So at my short draw length, we're getting similar performance out of this modern setup at my short draw length as, say, like my buddy Joe McConnell, who has a much longer draw and he's a bigger guy and he can pull a heavier weight. And so this is like the comparison to show, could you penetrate, especially a whitetail sized animal, with these really big points if you simply had a more powerful bow? Because we talk all the time that the small points are what penetrates the best, but if you have enough power to get it through the skin and get some good momentum behind this, obviously you can see they cut a heck of a wound. The blood was just pouring out of it. So I wouldn't tell everybody all the time, oh, you should be shooting these great big ones, because if you're shooting a contextual wood bow and a sinew string and all of that, and it's not a very high performing bow, there's a very good chance that this isn't going to penetrate. So that's why we shoot the normal small points, and I recommend that everybody does. This is kind of the exception. We're doing something and we're going to put the data down, and then that way you could at least shoot over a chronograph, weigh your arrows, and see, could you shoot these bigger, more devastating points. But we'll have all the information compiled when the new book is finished. We got blood right here, so that's what we were looking for. That's how artifacts are made, right there. Look at that. Passed through, stuck in the dirt on the other side, came right off, and found the whole thing. Could easily half that up. So it just basically pulled out of the half, stuck in the dirt. That was it. So we were able to find it just by where the blood is. I mean, there's blood right here everywhere just from where it went through. So pretty cool point there, isn't it? Like it. So those Hernandos could most certainly be arrowheads if shot off of a heavy enough or better performing bow. All right, this is the proxy bow test again, but this is a larger Noonan on an arrow. So we're going to have a look at what that'll do, being a little bit more rounded front. See, not as much penetration as that long sleek, but definitely plenty. But you can hear it hit ribs. It sure sounded like it. Now it came out the other side here. So on a deer-sized animal with a heavier bow that's a better performer, which we've talked about this, and we'll put up the data of this and explain it better, absolutely you could shoot a deer-sized animal with one of these larger. It definitely hit a rib. You could hear it, but you could see it actually broke the ear off this, so it probably cut at least one rib. All right.
Good.
I'm going to aim back just a little bit. No. There we go. That was perfect. Man, that smokes through even with this bow. There we go. Shoot, I'll tell you what. I might be hunting whitetails this year with these great big points in this Osage bow. If it didn't hit the dirt, it may have passed completely through. I mean, that's a little bit smaller than the other ones. But man, I've been working up to shooting a heavier bow yet, even at my short draw. That's pretty darn compelling right there. Completely contextual, so they talk about in Florida, that they, you know, would have been using the atlatl back in the time of these points, because the points were too big to penetrate. And you know, previously I would have said, yeah, that's true, they were too big, but you can see if you just work up to shooting the heavier bow and build a better performing one, I mean, they most certainly work. So, very compelling. All right, so this is that last hog that we just shot, and I'm working on cutting stuff up. I figured I'd just give you guys a little walkthrough on how I process some of it and what cuts I use for what. But it also depends on the age or the size of the hog and whether it's a boar or a sow. And this one was about as good of a eating pig as a guy's gonna get. It's about a 60-ish pound sow. Very healthy, lots of meat on her as far as pigs go. And so backstraps usually aren't overly big on hogs anyway. In this case, we've got enough where I can take, say, like a tenderloin and innerloin and a whole backstrap. I'll probably grill those together, so we'll have 2 different meals here. That's enough for our family of 4. I've got a whole hind quarter over here split out, and more times than not, we just wrap these. I'll take one chunk like this and one chunk like this. That's usually enough, and I'll smoke that. Sometimes I might do them both at once and then use leftovers for something else later, but I'll probably, with these ones, I'll probably do what I'm going to do with this, because this is a good eating sow and we have a lot of smoked meat anyway. So sometimes we like to have some pork chops. So I separated all of the muscle groups out of the hind quarter. So I'm going to go through and do some, since she should be pretty tender and taste good, we're going to do some hind quarter chop steaks. Then whatever doesn't, like these rounds, I don't love to make pork chops out of them because they have a lot of sinews and stuff. That's what a lot of people make roasts and stuff. And I may save these, put them together, and we'll just do a roast. Or I'll bundle all the pieces that I don't want, put all the spare pieces back together, and then smoke that, maybe wrap it up. But whether I do these one at a time or both at once, I'll smoke these out so they become a lot more tender. Another option would be to go ahead and throw them in the crock pot as well. But overall, we really like grilled meat, especially when it's a good hog. So that's going to be perfect for that. We're going to get us some chops. We'll get some smoked meat out of it, and we'll get several meals out of this really nice hog here. So our family absolutely loves wild meat that we get of all kinds, deer, hogs, bison, whatever. So all right, that should do it. So we got piles of pork chops out of the hindquarters and backstraps split, cleaned up with the inner loins. One nice glob there of some neck meat, and also the 2 rounds. That'll be like pork and sauerkraut in the crock pot. And then the 2 shoulders. I said I'll either smoke them individually or both at once. Given the size of these, I would consider doing one at a time, but hard to say. But either way, got several meals out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 meals out of this one. So not too bad for a 60-pound sow.